is going on. Boom. Ali Boumaier. Twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman coming to life here. We'll see if the red light's lit. Looks like we're going to go live here. We got 7 Mac 11s, about 8 38s, 9 9s, 10 Mac 10s. The shits never end. You can't touch my riches, even if you had Man Beast in the 357, bitches. And that's right, we're here at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman, hackerhamin.podbean.com, and the new Hamin Media Group.podbean.com. Add them on your iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get the best podcast in free media. It's the Impact Attack. MSG on vacay. Oh, yay. Yalla. Ah, man, the baby and the heel tagging together as the young boy takes his break, man, after a big spring for him. So MSG shout out. We're going to keep it locked down here for Slammiversary and Impact Attack from last night, man. But glad to be with you. Nobody else I'd rather be in the car ride with talking some shit than you. Looks like the Derby City Slingshot is in the house tonight, man. How's it going?
It's going good. You know, I'm going to put you in on a secret of the Motor City Machine Guns. Whenever they make their entrance, they put up their hand, and wherever they point to is where they're from. I'm from the Derby City, though, so you got to go all the way down to the weenus, and it's about right there.
Nice.
And so as I'm filling up my weenus on this lovely Wednesday morning with you, Ben, I couldn't feel better.
Looks great. I was glad to see them return, man. Boy, those guys don't age, that's for sure, and neither you. So the Derby City Slingshot, the secret weapon, the final weapon of mass destruction of the Motor City Machine Guns. Just when you thought they were out of ammo, no, we'll take it back and we'll take your eye out. You know, it's a big week for taking eyes out, and the Derby City Slingshot's a master at that.
That's very, very true. And you know, these guys look great, but let's keep in mind they've been around a minute. They're getting a little older, but as long as they keep the Derby City Slingshot around about every 5,000 miles or so, we'll get the wheels turned, we'll get the oil put in, and we'll make sure these guys are going for a long time, making them the best that modern medicine possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, that really is, like, they've both had pretty serious injuries that have taken them out. How much of the load are they going to be able to carry? Or how long are they signed for if it's like kind of 10 shows, a 2-round package at Impact? Because they did go over last night. That's one of our news items we'll get to. Actually, we'll get to it now, and then we'll come back and shoot it around. But congrats to those guys coming back. TNA Legends and the North's reign as Impact Tag Champs. Dude, North did business. The longest reigning tag champs since they've had it. You know, Ego Ethan Page looks phenomenal. Best shape I've seen him in since he was FCW. But now he's got a whole, you know, just completely polished master level, knowledge of what he needs to do on the indies, on TV. He knows the opportunity he has. He's also a promoter in Canada. He's just firing on all cylinders right now. And to do business last night, I was like, that's a good heel right there. They put all that heat on him for a year. Here's the surprise. They come back, the nostalgia act. You think they're just going to build off them, but instead they do business and pay off their heat that way because there's nobody really bigger babyface-wise to come in and take those titles off them. So I think we're looking at a good long-term back-and-forth program here, Beast, but good biz last night on Impact. I was really surprised at that finish.
Absolutely. And I'll say, as someone that just started watching this particular product, that being Impact Wrestling, over the last 2 months, so I've missed a lot of the North's reign, but I will say the commentators and the people that make the production pieces have done a really good job at getting that over. So I feel like even though I haven't seen a lot of the reign, I'm understanding it was, you know, a historically significant reign. And so my hope actually is next week, if it were me writing, I think they should spend an entire segment as like a retrospective of showing how they won the titles, all the major feuds that they ended up winning through, all the way up to what happened last week with the Motor City Machine Guns. And then that's an easy hook and a segue to coming up next, the Motor City Machine Guns, your new Impact champions, and then boom, and then you go into the business from right there.
Sure.
Just because it is such a historically significant moment for them. There's sometimes I hate when they'll do a pre-produced segment for the entire thing that is just a video package and nothing new. But I feel like with the significance of this, and especially for any particular new fans, not just myself as someone that's coming in and reviewing the show, but anyone that also maybe is just now tuning in the Impact for the first time, to have a chance to see why this is significant and why you should care right now about these two teams going at it for the tag titles. But you're right, the business was well done, and kudos to the North for putting them over. I thought they did a great job, honestly.
What I'm looking forward to the most really is where, I mean, Page is great in the ring, no doubt, but he really shines in those pre-produced promos where it's a reaction thing backstage where he's going to be hot and he's going to say some funny shit, but it'll be in the moment in character, but it'll be like wrestling insider stuff 1-2. He really knows how to get that in his own way and has made it his own game that way for smart wrestling fans. I think there's more to get them over in them not having the titles in the next couple of weeks and seeing Page's frustration because that character work is going to really outshine. That's, to be honest with you, that's something the Motor City Machine Guns can't do. And that's why they were never really over to be taken seriously as WWE or TV guys. They're good looking, athletic. They're kind of the Young Bucks too soon, right look, but wrong time period to get over. Fully, not to say they didn't get over, they had bigger careers than we ever have, but and they were great to work with at 2CW, but they're just missed that shot, you know what I mean, unfortunately. But now here they're getting an opportunity to do business for multiple younger tag teams. You're going to see the Rascals versus them in a baby thing. That'll be very cool. But the Motor City Machine Guns, not really known for character. And that's what you and I both think is most important, I think, in this industry, to get over and be memorable in the conversation.
True, but that also might be a good reason for pairing them off with the North, especially with Ethan Page, who does have such an over-the-top character. I mean, and to be able to carry at least the character portion of the angle, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and I think that's more reason why, because that he has more of that character. They don't need the championships at this point. They've utilized it as a device to get the heat that they've needed. And now I agree with you in that seeing the reaction and the fallout from them is going to be, more character building than them having a few more weeks as the tag champ.
Either one of those guys, Shelley or Sabin, could have been Daniel Bryan too. I mean, I'm not trying to undersell them anyway. You know what I mean? It's all about how you use somebody and hide their weaknesses, or they make their weaknesses into their strengths.
It's also right place, right time.
Sure. Absolutely, dude. They all have that same fight from underneath babyface style, or 50-50 athletic, get your shit in type of match. That's what they should be booked in. Not
right. You're not. I don't see it as a knock. You're basically saying, I mean, these guys could have had Daniel Bryan's WWE World Title run. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If they were in the right place, right time.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they're all cut from the same cloth.
Right.
Big shout out here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. I see bits coming in. Chris 006 or 06 double deuce in there. J Hal back. Buckshot Kid Fudge 420 already up and smoking. El Quiffo 88 always pops me. And let's see. Woke Monkey BWB said, good morning, fellas. I just got some of the Broasters, some of the best coffee. I'm glad I ordered it from Broasters. Can't wait to order more. I had it. You can hear my mouth moving a mile a minute like a whippoorwill's asshole right now, dude. And that Broasters coffee is the best. And I was on the Jamaican.
I know we particularly put over the Russo Bro coffee, but I will say that is very good coffee. I'm a big fan of their Nicaraguan coffee, the Broasters Nicaraguan. I don't know if that says that correctly.
You're ready to be stoogy. You're ready to look like a fool. You just made yourself look like a fool, man, beast.
Why is it the same?
The Russo Bro sticker is on the Nicaraguan blend. Yeah, it's the same coffee like that.
Man,
I tested 3 different ones. They have a Peruvian light blend. They have the Nicaraguan dark, and or medium, and then they had a darker one. And I like the Nicaraguan the best in the middle. And we just got Russo stickers to be made on that.
It's the placebo effect. Look at that. I didn't
is.
know. To me, it's like, oh, this coffee's better than this coffee. The same damn coffee.
It's same shit.
I was like, both these coffees are good. But damn.
Great stuff.
I feel like a fool.
Maybe you look like a fool out there. Fudge 420 with 35 bits. Black Shreds with the 245 C Murder bits, Dunny. And let's see. Yeah, everybody making it rain out here. So appreciate you guys. Real El Plaja, our video editors in the house too, man. Doing all types of stuff community building wise. Young man from across the pond, I think Scotland, just sent Hamin Media Group graphic that I'm going to upload to the new HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com till we start getting branding going. I'm happy that people want to use their time and their art to help promote the community and the free media that we're doing here, man. And anytime I can help somebody shine that way, and I think it meets a standard, not going to stick with it forever, whatever, but they put their time in, happy to help you shine. So thanks for everybody out there who's contributing one way or another. Talked to Javid, who is on Cage Theory with Blake Troop and John Hartnett last night. He's trying to strike a deal with Sportskeeda for the Cage Theory show, and who knows what pebble in the pond that may be, because that's a lot of eyes. I'm not against working with dirt sheets and whatnot, but I definitely want to see that the look is the right way before we put Hamin Media Group plug that into somebody. But I told them, hey, greenlight, man, if you can get that deal done for Cage Theory and you want to do it, that's millions of viewers a week, and that opens the floodgates to say, oh, where does this lie? And they're always plugging us on that. So they're making the most of their opportunity, just like you are with getting the debate show going and starting to carve out that piece of land, man. So everybody's doing their stuff here, dude. And even if you're just a community member here in the chat room at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman, appreciate you just being with us, interacting, giving time, having us on in the background, whatever's going down.
I bring it up only because it's ever since I learned it, it's just so fascinating how the algorithm works, and you're absolutely right. The more, literally just commenting, liking, sharing, any little interaction you do with our show, regardless, even just tuning in, it all helps us continue to be put out there so more people can discover what we're doing and be able to continue to put out great content. And so anyone and everyone that is either just watching or liking, sharing, whatever, commenting, throwing up bits, obviously I'm always appreciative of that, but anything, it is super appreciative, and I'm looking forward to cool stuff coming down the pipeline. As a matter of fact, today I'll go ahead and stooge it off, at least as far as on the YouTube page. I guess I'll have to try to play around with the audio because there's a lot of video components to it, but we will have the first digital debates. We got MSG and Rick Vickery to sit down and debate Family Guy versus South Park. So look for that on the Hamin Media Group YouTube page this afternoon, and then go to the Twitter page and vote on who you thought won the debate, because these two are going to just keep bickering at each other until finally we can decide which one's better. So
Man Beast, the classic locker room veteran, comes in to start some shit and then walks out of the room and leaves the guys arguing.
You know how it goes.
I do. I've been that guy plenty of time, man. Awesome work by everybody. All hands on deck. Like we said, MSG off this week, taking some time for himself, getting back into the amateur pornography world, and doing his passion projects. So glad that he's getting some time off, man. Appreciate all that he does. Let's see what else we got in the news here, Beast. One thing I was going to say that we'll probably talk Conspiracy Horseman. I don't know if you followed on Twitter, but 7,000 QAnon accounts taken down, and 150,000 connected accounts banned or whatever, suspended.
From Twitter?
From Twitter last night.
Were you one of them?
No, I was not.
Surprised.
I am very surprised because my YouTube channel just got remonetized. And I have been uploading Horseman stuff. It's not making a ton of money by any means, but we're back in the game now. So I thought the pendulum was swinging back, but I knew that I shouldn't have bid on it. Not that I did. I'm always weary of them after what they did before. They exposed themselves, and then they hired 10,000 fact checker, YouTube trolls to go through, and most of them started becoming conspiracy theorists once they had to watch all these videos where the truth is exposed, and then the pendulum kind of swings back. I got remonetized. But for how long, who knows? But here we are going into what's going to be a crazy September with Hillary Clinton supposedly having a trial. I think there'll be some massive thing at the end of August that shuts all that down. False flag. We have this weekend in Chicago, the National Guard being deployed. Last night there was a mass shooting of 14 people. Meanwhile, my friends in Chicago are the ones who scream the loudest about what everybody else should be doing, and then they scream tyranny when the National Guard shows up because they're murdering people by the fucking dozen on a Tuesday night, dude. Like, just insane times, you know what I mean? To be able to say election's done, 2CW's done, whatever is coming our way this way, dude. And I thought, like I said, the pendulum might have been swinging back, but here we are with a mass Twitter ban of the underground in the 4D chess movement of what is taking down the pedophile rings, what is getting ready to expose CIA, John Brennan, and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? A strange week. We'll see because the dust isn't really settling yet. You know what I mean? What will happen next?
I really don't know. It seems this year it's been a strange 2020. Just It feels like the attack on information, the attack on science, the attack on everything. And it's if anyone has any political gain to be made, or money to be made, or control to be made, or manipulate, or fear, or create anger, it's hard to put it into words, and especially as someone that works in the healthcare field, in the medical field, where you just expect things that are evidence-based and research and known are now questioned. I mean, it really all started. I mean, I'm getting on a soapbox, not necessarily on the conspiracy thing, but I mean, it goes all the way back to with the original anti-vax movement and things like that, with the research article that came out that was proven to be false, but no one talks about how it was proven to be false. They talk about the original article that was put out there about how it caused autism, when really it does not at all. But I guess to finish the point is, I really don't know what the hell is going to happen, and I guess we're just along for the ride, man. So until then, we're just going to keep talking about it and bringing it up and producing content. And
you just feel that it feels like that super volcano is under your feet right now, and every step you take, like, dude, you're just waiting to fucking let her go.
Me and my obsession with that damn super volcano. I have barely thought about the super volcano this year. That'll tell you something.
That will tell you something. El Quiffo with the bits. Appreciate you. El Plaja also on that Hamin Media Group Instagram, captaining that. A lot of great video work over there, you guys, from UFO to the COVID cover-ups and everything that's been going on. So if you're looking for some digestible small bites and the video work he's doing, awesome shit there. Just trying to get out all the things for you guys to subscribe to here. Let's see. Man, be spitting truth, says Fudge 420. Always. Why need to lie when the truth is much crazier, you know? But good morning to you all. Appreciate you. Here's one: Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett, two names we haven't really seen who probably will be going to Impact. They talk about their WWE debut and Vince giving up on them. Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett were recently on ROH Strong podcast. So I guess they're going to ROH, maybe, if ROH is coming back, where they reflected on their WWE debut and how things didn't work out. Is ROH Strong podcast, is that Jargo? Maria Kanellis reflected on how they signed their contracts in March, but they weren't brought in out until June, where they debuted at WWE's Money in the Bank event. However, Maria admitted that she questioned why she didn't get brought out at WWE WrestleMania instead. She said, "We sat at home from March until June," Maria explained. "We had no contact until June. I already felt like something was fishy, because if you were that excited about us, why didn't you bring us out at WrestleMania?" The couple did debut at WWE's Money in the Bank event, but Mike Bennett reflected on how quickly Vince dropped their push. He said, "We did the debut, and regardless of how the crowd reacted, which we got a great reaction and we came out, that was it." Bennett said, "Vince, for whatever reason, didn't see it and pretty much all but dropped it. They weren't even on the broadcast," Bennett recalled. "We were written into the show, and then we got cut. At that point, me and Maria both went, that's it, we're done." Mike spoke about how he heard different things through the grapevine about how Vince felt about him, but he never heard it directly from their conversations. He says, "You'll hear it through the grapevine," Bennett explained. I heard Vince was unimpressed when he saw you. Vince didn't like how your body looked. I've heard a gambit of things. I've gone in and talked to Vince. None of these have ever come up in meetings or conversations. So again, no one ever says anything to your face. It's just constantly you hear it. That's welcome to the reality of wrestling. If you didn't know how things work, pretty much, no one's gonna stooge right to your face unless they're your best friend and they say you look like shit and you need to do this, that, or the other. You know what I mean? And they really care about you. But everyone who's your competition, whose spot you're taking, is gonna say, "Looking good, bud," and fucking pat you on the back and say he looks like shit, and he whispers up to Vince so they can fucking bury you to take your spot once again. It's the fucking mafia, and people shouldn't be shocked when you get got and it's your best friend that did it.
Yeah. I don't know why it kind of goes along with the story, but this is an old story that popped in my head back in the day when Eric Angle was at OVW. Apparently he used to at least once a week, he would bring donuts to all the guys and tell them how good they looked, and then he would purposely not eat the donuts just so that way he could try to get a little bit of an edge up on the competition. So it's funny how, and that's more a lighthearted version, but people are always trying to find a way to edge you out in the locker room, and it's sad that it's still that way in a lot of places for a lot of people.
Nice. Jargo does Pod of Honor. I think MSG's in the chat right now. Fucking cannot get away from wrestling. Lives for it. Another recently released WWE superstar heading to Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling aired a vignette on Tuesday night show on Access Advertising the impending arrival of Brian Myers, the wrestler formerly known as Kurt Hawkins. Myers has been wrestling for 16 years, getting a start in New York. You guys know this. The former Edgehead is a two-time World Tag Team Champion. I like to put that in there. Little stooge on that. You remember when the majors were, we actually took the belts off them, the Southern Tag titles. They did business for the Insurgency. That was when they got called up as the majors. Then they got cut or sent back down, and they were both very cool. They came over to me and Twink's apartment, and I don't know if Rachel was with me yet, but we sat down and they're like, "What do you think about this?" And we actually wrote out the Edgehead stuff, the foundation for that, and they took it back to the office and they ran with it. That was one of the first things I actually got on TV. Like, I mean, not saying it was my idea totally by any means, but they were hurting and they wanted to do something that way. And dude, I remember that as an awesome moment, maybe just because I had a hand in it, but like that was pretty cool to do the Viano shit with them, and it got them on TV and over, and it helped that Edge angle immensely, dude. And he gave them the rub. So here's strange thing, but then I started thinking about it a little more. So we've seen Cody sell for Ryder, saying he hasn't ever gotten a chance to do his best work, and Ryder looks like $1 million and he can get over. And, he'll go there to AEW on a buddy, bring him in type thing, because they're best friends, him and Cody and Chelsea Green and Brandy. But then people are like, well, Hawkins is going to Impact. I think they're both smart enough to do this. Maybe they don't want Hawkins or Myers, whatever you want to call him right now, or like they just want to try and get Ryder over. So they're going to set the table. So Hawkins goes to Impact, gets that extra paycheck for maybe signs for 10 shows or something, right? Plus he owns Wrestle Pro with Pat Buck. They were already plugged in and Josh Matthews or Kevin Matthews were doing shows together. Plus they're doing shows in Alaska now too, which is pretty cool and crazy. He's got that freedom to make sure his business there is running good, and he's got the Impact business. He clocks a paycheck. Ryder goes and gets over. Heels are on him. Who's going to come save him? In comes Hawkins. I can see those guys totally putting all that together based on 16 years of being in the business consistently and getting fucked every which way but loose when it comes to trying to get over with shitty gimmicks. And then they get them over and then they take them off TV because how dare you get over with the rib that we tried to fucking put on you. You know what I mean? So And I remember when Hawkins got hired back, it was because he was training with The Rock for like 3 months before Rock came back for WrestleMania. Like that was the door opening for him once again that way too. So these guys are savvy, man. They, like people want to put it, oh, you were never on TV and you weren't over and you weren't this and that. Dude, you got a job for 16 years and fucking, you know, they know what they're doing. There's no doubt about it, dude.
Certainly. I mean, I'd like to think with all the networking and clout they've built up with many guys over the years, and I've spoken on this before about how I think that one of the best ways to help elevate just wrestling in general right now is more with cross promotional type work. Like if all the companies were to get together. So there, I don't know if it is necessarily going to happen. I'm just more hypothesizing, but it would be very cool. And I think it would be getting heads turning if they were able to somehow kind of not manipulate, but maybe inspire those backstage to want to have more of a working relationship between AEW and Impact Wrestling, which I think would only help, honestly, both companies. I mean, seeing Sami Callihan do a run in on AEW Dynamite, holy shit. Or seeing, you know, whoever, say Moxley or Cody making it, you know, coming and doing a run in on Impact, you know, things like that. And this is pie in the sky. I'm not saying that's going to happen by any means. I highly doubt it will, but it's just more getting my wheels turning that, you know, these guys, you know, playing the politics, but we've talked about before how when we say playing politics, it almost comes across in a negative fashion, but there's certainly ways you can play politics that benefits not only yourself, but really the locker room and even the company, if you're playing politics in the right manner and doing it truly to help elevate everyone and not just in a self-serving way. So I don't know if that's going down. The other thought I had is perhaps they just saw more with Zack Ryder taking off with the internet champion thing and maybe, you know, with AEW's roster just being so jam-packed right now. I mean, they've got a lot of guys and you got to wonder how much, you know, that is. I'm not saying that he's not a good talent in Brian Myers, but, you know, perhaps just right now, just, you know, they have a vision and an idea that they want to go forward with Zach. And maybe it just, not that they didn't want him as part of the roster, but, you know, what good does it do someone to bring someone in if you don't necessarily have a direction for him at the moment? So it could also be just a thing where they just didn't have a particular idea for him at the time. And so with having the more of that part-time schedule with Impact too, which is another reason that, you know, it allows him to go through his other business ventures like the Create a Pro or what was it called?
Wrestle Pro and
Wrestle Pro.
And Create a Pro, I think, is their school. Yeah. The boys in the chat room want to rename this Wednesday show the Strip Club. Andrezen with $250 bits. Appreciate you, man. And gifting 14 subs to the channel, tier 1 for Black Shreds, man. Like, Andrezen, a huge supporter and giver to everybody, you know, giver Cody Deaner style to everybody in the chat room at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. So if you're not joining us and you're just listening to the podcast, you know, you definitely get over there and subscribe. Awesome community stuff going on all the time, guys. Let's see how I want to do this one. Watch EC3 attacks false prophet in return to Impact Wrestling.
Oh,
shows up ready and defends their championship.
Follow with a couple of chops here and imagine being invited to a match and then winning that match.
Hopefully this isn't super long. 3 minutes, fuck that.
Yes, it's more towards the back half.
Retain his TNA heavyweight championship here tonight. That's one that will not be accepted. Whoa. That's EC3. What is he doing? He doesn't even work here. We knew he was going to show up tonight, but he doesn't work here, and he just dropped and floored Moose.
How did he get in here?
It's a great question.
That was stay down there. Oh man, that's okay. He did. I just went. It's fine. Anyone could go back and watch. Look how he does not look back.
He doesn't look back. Yeah, he doesn't.
That's just one of those small things that goes a long way for heels. You leave with your heat. You don't even turn around and look. You keep walking to the back. That's all Paul Heyman pearl.
Oh wow, good right there, dude. There's $1,000 everybody owes us. And I'll say, dude, his promo, the pre-tape one, was pretty good too about doing a shoot on you're locked down, you're a sheep, are you gonna break out on your own, and like, media controls you, this controls you, and all that shit. Like, he's just been money. There's no doubt about it, but nobody's cashed in on him yet. Even Dixie and him together in Spud was great. Like, that's the pinnacle, right? But that should have transferred. That should have transferred to WWE. WWE should have brought in Dixie. There's no doubt about it. And like the whole thing should have continued, but ego-wise, they didn't do fuck all with him. Zero. And now he's back at square one at Impact to live off of that legacy in a new company. And it's just like, what a waste of 7 years where this guy could have been your heel John Cena, and they just do not do anything correctly with the fucking thoroughbred racehorses that they have. They get 1/10 the value because their ego or stupid creative is in the way. How could Vince not look at, if he's got a problem with what's his nuts, Canellis' body, okay, then go look at EC3. How could Vince not go, yeah, pal, I need that, oh shit, and get him out there? All bullshit, man. There's money there. So we'll see how well it'll get over. Here's the problem, and this will be a reoccurring theme I touch on through the show. That empty arena wrestling, when you've got 5, 6 big surprises and there's nobody there to react to it, oof. And a lot of guys who were the big names coming back all had shitty promos in the ring last night, dude. All 3 big ones were they fell pretty flat, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you feel like, and I'm just asking this more as a question, do you think they should do what AEW and WWE is doing and having some of the, I guess, talent in the audience? Because I know there's the other issue of burying your stars too, in a sense.
I don't think the matches are suffering. I don't think the matches are suffering from nobody in the audience. It feels about the same to me, but the promos are getting destroyed. Heath Slater's on Slammiversary. Last night's thing was cute, but like all the other ones, they're just not working at all. So to me, if it's a pre-taped show, that means while I'm watching them do it, I'm going to go, fuck, we're going to be up till 4 a.m. because we got to get these pre-taped in a different way because we can't air this. We can't spend this amount of money and then showcase them this way, because we're going to look bad that we don't know what the fuck we're doing with incoming top talent that we just spent $15,000 on their paydays for. So, that's a problem that needs to be addressed and resolved in the time of COVID. So how do we come up with creative pre-tapes with different locations to help further their stories and get them started?
Or is that where you do like you would do in, say, a TV show or a film, and that's where you kind of have people, you have the talent have a chance to maybe improv a little bit with the bullet points that you give them,
sure,
and then shoot it 3 or 4 times and then take the best out of it. And that also might mean you have to cut some time out too, because it just, wasn't there. You know what I mean? But you might get better quality performances that way, and it gives you more to work with by doing it versus just doing a 1 through and saying, all right, that's good, thanks. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's what they do, but I have a feeling they probably just record everything once and then that's it.
Yeah, well, it's a 3-day.
Unless something egregiously gets botched.
It's a 3 or 4 day shoot for 6 weeks of TV. Yeah. So, do you have the production people in place even to go get all the B-roll stuff done, where I'd be working on something, you'd be working on something, and we all knew from the meeting before what we're going to do, but like, right, we're not all standing there doing the same thing. Do they have those team 2, team 3 to go get shit done? And maybe that's the other no, we don't right now, and that's why it's got to be done in ring. But if there's nobody there and it's a shit promo, I'm going, cut. Bro, come here and look at this. Like, I'm not trying to bust your balls and be like, whatever, but I know there's no audience, so it might not feel the same. Let's look at what you're doing right here. Now let's go back, and here's what I think you need to do to tune. Let's tune the energy up here, because on camera with nobody else, that's where we need it, or the pacing isn't there. And they'd probably be like, yeah, it feels weird. Like, I know it does, man. Like, let's do a couple dry runs before we go back on. So you can feel what I want from you. You know what I mean? And it might feel different than what you're used to waiting for crowd reaction. So let's play around. Let's take 5 minutes and do that. Because I'd way rather make them comfortable, say, yeah, it's a fucked up situation, but you're a pro, and here's what I need you to do. And then they can understand and go back to what they did. I think these were one and done shoots on almost all these promos, dude, and they all missed.
Yeah.
It was a different impact last night. I don't know. Chris Bay turns the X division into his finesse division, and Heath Slater denied access. We'll get into that in the show. Funny stuff that way. But Heath Slater, you know, I get the comedy or game they're trying to do, but he's all fucking jacked up, and like they got this dude who's obviously an indie worker or either professional security. Dude's in good shape. Like, and he's denying Heath Slater entry into the building. Dude, if you're in the pro wrestling world and you're working Impact Security and you don't know who Heath Slater is, you're probably not going to have much of a fucking career in this business, to like that. I don't like non-believable things like that. I'd rather have him come and say, sorry, Mr. Slater, you don't have a contract. This is for contracted dudes only. Like, at least put it over. Like, the insulting of the intelligence, like, who are you? Okay. Like, all right. I'm not a big fan of that kind of creative choice, dude. There's better ways to go. However, Rhino didn't come through on addressing his name put his name on the guest list. He was too busy working out and arm wrestling a grudge match with TNA vet Hernandez. Those were some funny clips. Heath did manage to sneak into the building at the very end of the episode while Jimmy Jacobs exits. You see a foot in the door, and then Heath sneaks in, and then the episode fades out. So that was I like that little Easter egg at the end, all those things, and especially what you said about EC3, just the camera sticking with him. Knowing that is probably, I don't know if it's EC3 saying, follow me out and I'm not looking back at you. Like, maybe he's taking care of his business to that level. If not, the cameraman and the director, if they didn't talk about it, good work on them. But hopefully they really had the vision for what that moment was there. And I believe he's going to he's an OVW guy. He's going to fucking go through and do the right thing, business the right way, you know?
Yeah, certainly.
Because he knows that they've effed him over. He's gonna. These are the first impressions to get back to where he needs to be.
Yeah, and it definitely made him feel much more important than really he ever did on his previous run with NXT and WWE.
Man, I wonder what it's like to I don't want to know, but it's got to be frustrating for him to fly that close 2-3 times and just get fucking kicked out, you know what I mean, again, instead of really accomplishing what they should. And here's the thing, now he'll go back to Impact, make himself a huge property. WWE will be like, maybe we need that guy back, and then he'll go and then they'll fuck it up again. You know, it's just brutal. Yeah. Maybe not this time though. WWE could be done with the way things are going. Slammiversary, man, Beast, did you get through it all or no, bud?
I got to watch clips of it. To be fair, I did sit down and I rebooked the women's gauntlet, which we can talk about when we get there.
Yeah.
But that took a bit more time than I expected. But I did at least get a chance to catch up on what happened and see clips of Slammiversary. To be fair, I've probably seen more of I saw all of the TV show afterwards. So. But I'm good to chat about what happened, at least.
We'll run it down quick, man. I mean, we did the watch along here, so the diehards were here. We had a good time. It was actually a double stream with that in UFC. So big weekend with that and Extreme Rules, bro. I was fucking dead by the time Raw was over. So let's see.
Now,
go ahead.
Before we go too much further, only because people are talking about in the chat room about, and I don't know your opinion. Do you feel EC3 possibly got in his own way, and maybe that's what led maybe him saying something wrong? And I only bring that up because I don't mind this stooge off because multiple people were there. His very first time getting an opportunity at OVW back when it was under WWE developmental, and this was prior to him getting a contract. I remember he rubbed a lot of people his first night when he got back. And I want to say, I don't even think it was on TV. I think it was dark match. And this was before he tore his ACL in DCW. He was getting the opportunity on OVW TV. He got back to the locker room, and the first thing he said in front of everyone was, "That's how you do TV, boys." And it's
oh yeah, I remember that, dude.
Not really the best thing to go back to, all the. I mean, granted, everyone down at OVW is learning, but there's still, tiers of respect and everything and decorum, and to come backstage and say that in front of the entire locker room. It does rub people the wrong way. Now, that being said, I don't know how he was when he went up. I don't know if that was just him being funny. I don't know. But when you hear something like that and being backstage at the time, as I remember, that instance did.
Were you a ref then? Were you reffing? Yeah, I was going to say, that had to be like my third or fourth month, because I remember I was out in the crowd with Ali and Khalil. And that all went down, and you and Jamin were like, "Oh, dude, you should have seen how fucking hot
everybody
Cruel
turned
was."
Their head. It was like, okay,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you don't know, and you're right. One wrong thing being said is misinterpreted. Because here's the thing: me saying that, sure, you can easily see how people would take that the wrong way, but he could have also just been like, it could have been lighthearted too. You know what I mean? But as soon as someone takes it offensively and holds that grudge. It can be as simple as that. Unfortunately, people in wrestling can be very petty sometimes.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that is the case, but it does lend credence to that's definitely in the realm of possibility.
People say that's a ballsy comment. It's not a ballsy comment. It's a dumb comment from a kid who doesn't know to shut the fuck up when he should, because he just got a shot on TV, so his head is big, and he thinks he's getting called up over all these other dudes who have been there grinding it out too. And let's talk about who's sitting there when that happened. Dolph Ziggler. Mike Cruel, Sean Spears, Cody Rhodes, Vladimir Kozlov, Amish Roadkill, Oxenhammer. What was that?
Was Mercury there at the time?
Mercury, Beth Phoenix, Casey and Cassidy, ODB. And fucking Damian Sandow. And to come back and do that at that age, bro, you're like, oof. That's not a ballsy thing. That's an ignorant thing of being young, because he just got that opportunity. The thing to do is go do it. If you're going to get over, do business, and come back in and be like, hey, could I ask what you thought of that, dude? And is there any notes you could give me? And sit down and be humble to the locker room leader, so you don't, or else you just don't say anything.
Yeah, and this was prior to getting any feedback from the match too. You would think you would want to make sure, hey, you did good business, good match. Instead, before anyone gives any opinion on how they thought the match was or wasn't, it was, that's how you do TV, boys.
That's it.
It's like,
instead of staying small, Black Shred says it right there, stay small. Yeah, humble. And it's not even about being humble. It's knowing that you're swimming in a shark tank, and doing that kind of stuff shows that you're ignorantly going, here's some blood for you guys to fucking feast on, because that just makes yourself a target. He should know, if he's a real worker, that he got that opportunity. Now he's getting a get-over match, and that guys are already jealous and going to be talking about him, so don't give him anything else to fucking chew you down with. You just go be one of the boys and be small, and wrestling's phony. Anybody can win. That kind of fucking attitude, and then go to the gym and work out hard and try and get over. Like, that's where this shit gets into people's blood and egos, and they think a phony fucking 1, 2, 3 is the reality of it, Yeah. That's how you do TV. The Rascals versus Motor City Machine Guns. Good, like I said, babyface stuff all through this. Everyone's getting their shit in left and right, but there was a lot of good sells up until kind of the end when they really go into it. But MCMG up, so right on the hot streak, coming back, beating a hot babyface team, and then also going over for the tag titles, man.
Yeah, I thought it was a good way to kick off the pay-per-view too. Mm-hmm. It was a nice return, a big win, and it obviously was a catalyst for what happened on TV the following week.
Yep. My favorite match of the show is next: Moose versus Tommy Dreamer. Contested under old school rules, which apparently means no DQ. Moose delivers a big boot at the bell. 2 fight on the floor, weapons, we go ECW, but Dreamer's like dressed half like, even a third like Dreamer, a third like Funk, and a third like Dusty. And, he's got his girdle on, and I love Dreamer, man. My favorite wrestler, him and Brett of all time. And this was just cool, man, because I really feel like all right, we know I know the Dreamer A, B, and C matches. He has 3 matches depending on what level of worker you are that he'll fucking do with you. And then, based off of that and seeing what he's doing, it just took me back to when Terry Funk was doing business for him, and he's doing the whole Terry Funk storyline now in his own Dreamer kind of way, man. And it really, really popped me in a lot of places. Very, very good stuff, dude. One thing that keeps popping me at Impact is, well, Moose goes under the ring, pulls out a whole bunch of chairs, all this other shit. Oh, he pulls out a trash can and he goes, "This is so damn easy," as he puts a trash can on Dreamer's face and drop kicks him. Taunts for a bit too long and into the surprise cutter on the trash can for the 2 count. Dreamer grabs a chair and sets up in the middle of the ring. He hits the ropes, caught in the drop toe, sending him face first. Like, that spot always scares the shit out of me, dude. And it always looks good as hell, that reverse fucking hardcore face bump shit, dude. But in the end, it's still your TNA fake belt champion, Moose, hits him with the big spear. So no jackhammer needed on Dreamer. Bro, I can't get up there for you. Just hit me with a spear. But my favorite is being an ECW guy and Dreamer taking over the Terry Funk role, man. Good stuff here.
Yeah, and Tommy, I think he's at a point in his career where honestly he's just having fun on it, and it shows. And the thing is, when people go out there, when wrestlers go out there and they're truly having fun, it's a lot of times when you end up having the best performances too. And I'm not by any means saying 2020 Dreamer is the same as how he was back in his prime, but at the same time, I feel like same with you. I get a lot of enjoyment just watching him out there doing his thing, and I agree. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's always the special moment for me when I get to be in any match with him, dude. It's usually just me coming in double axe handle, taking the fucking kendo stick, and then right into the other guy's finish. But for me, it's still like, holy shit, it's Tommy Dreamer right there, fucking whacking me with a kendo stick. Whack. Yalla. See Russo FTQ in there joining us. JVD's in the house too. Welcome, Big Evil Pops as well. It's not me. Big Evil Pops is a different one. Oh, shit. I just clicked off the Slammiversary results like an idiot.
No.
Let me bring that back up here. Rewind. ProWrestling.com is where we usually get it. However, we'll see if we start using Sportskeeda or if they have an interest to do something together. What you guys like that site, Sportskeeda? I don't go to any sheets except for Pro Wrestling, which was the guys who were with WrestleZone, and then they left too for whatever reason and started this. I like the look of their site. Some of the copy pops me, some does not. Actions continue on page 3. Holy shit, 8 pages. FT sheets, you guys like? Impact. Let's see. Where are we next? Huge arrival. The Good Brothers show up. I think it's going to be the Good Brothers and Johnny Swinger gets out. That popped the shit out of me too. He goes, the Andersons, he saw Anderson's name on the car rental info and he assumed Arn wasn't coming, so he took the car. Took the Good Brothers car. Quick joke, flashback to 88, like where his character lives in, dude, and puts over Arn and Ole weren't coming, and fucking boom, a little funny stick at fucking AEW, a flashback one there for the hardcore wrestling fans, and off he goes, dude. Swinger, always my favorite part of the show.
Yeah, and he always gets those little lines in, and it's great because I feel like even if you aren't as well informed on some of the rips that he does, the ridiculous of the character is so obvious. But then for those long-term fans or those long-time fans of wrestling, those highbrow comments are just
I think he said Ole. I think you're right on that one, Buckshot Kid. He didn't say Arn. He said Ole, which was even better, as far as a deep cut. Gauntlet's knockout match, for those who don't know, was basically a Royal Rumble with 2-minute intervals that turns into a singles match at the end. So they didn't really explain that beforehand. It was confusing because I see the refs on the outside and 2 people are starting as singles, but I don't know that it's a Royal Rumble, so I got to wait until the next entrant comes down and then go, oh, okay, it's a Royal Rumble. So I think it's going to be a Royal Rumble. But then we get to the last two, then it turns into singles. Like none of that was really explained and broken down for the crowd beforehand. That was really the biggest mistake here, even though the girls did work their asses off and looked sexy for sure. Beast, I don't really like the style of this match. This is some impact's going to impact type shit to me where it's good on paper, but you didn't set it up or explain it the right way or why we're even doing that.
Yeah. So and this was the one that Rick Vickery was going off about. I guess this really upset him, and so he challenged me to rewrite this. So I did see bits and pieces. To be fair, I guess I owe it to myself to sit down and watch it.
I do got to put over that I did pop for both run-ins in drag by why can I never fucking remember Johnny Bravo's name? Johnny Bravo, like as Taya, and then they just shit can him out. He goes out. Okay, we're doing a little comedy douchebag bit, and then Taya can come back in later. But then when he came out as Rosemary again, that fucking made me laugh too because he had to do the whole makeup in that amount of time he got thrown out, runs to the back, does a quick change. They hit him with the fucking white gimmicks, zip, 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 zip. And I thought he was going to come out and get thrown out again, which I would have done, but he does a little spot this time as Rosemary. But still, I love the douchebag character. I love those. That's the type of Orange Cassidy shit where you use him just sparingly to do those type of fucking things. And it endears them to, if there was a crowd, it endears them to the crowd so much. They can be the top star. Grado was great at that. Grado was one of the fucking dudes you wanted to see the most of based on the comedy stuff he might do. And Swinger and now Johnny Bravo are doing next to nothing and becoming the most entertaining people on the show. So go ahead, Beast. Floor is yours to rebook this match.
All right. So I must have missed the second spot with Bravo. I did see where he dressed up as Valkyrie. And so I incorporated that into this. So I'll try to run through this. Hopefully y'all can follow. So how I would have booked it using all the same participants. I feel Susie's character is one that is easily understood. She's kind of the goody good and the announcers can play up how she used to be this evil character. So I would have had her run through the gauntlet from the beginning and make her the unlikely, what people would expect to be the one to win the match. So you have her get in there, say with Natasha Steeles to start. It goes right back to their history, their feud. She bullies her around, but Susie gets better of her. Then Nevaeh comes in, and this plays off how they booked TV this next week where they had the tag team match. So Nevaeh comes in, kind of evens the odds. Nevaeh and Tasha Steeles go at it. Madison Rayne comes out. She's smarter than any of them. She goes right to the commentary desk with Josh Matthews and says, I'm going to wait this one out. Let's talk about these girls and talk shit the whole time. Mm-hmm. That's what I would have done with Madison until the end. Then comes Kiera Hogan and Havoc up next. They do the tag team thing, say where Kiera and Tasha somehow tricked Havoc and Nevaeh to get eliminated. They talk shit. Then Susie comes up behind them, dumps them both, and they all brawl to the back. Then you have a reason for them to all fight in a tag team match.
Which they did. Impact, which they did.
Then who's going to face Susie one-on-one? Then you have her go through a couple of the other girls that maybe aren't as character forward, say a Kimberly, Alicia Edwards, to something where they get the better of Susie. Susie reverses it, hits them with the thing, eliminates them. So she gets rid of Alicia, gets rid of Kimberly. Then comes Katie Forbes. She could have the big return. She teaches Susie how to do the twerk. Susie has to, try to learn the twerk. Then Katie Forbes hits Susie, tries to eliminate her. Susie eliminates Katie Forbes. Then you have the whole gimmick with that. Then next comes Taya Valkyrie's music hits. Then out comes Johnny Bravo as Taya Valkyrie. And he gets a, kick to the gut, pushes her down, does, man shit to try to outpower Susie until Rosemary's music hits, distracting Johnny Bravo and allowing Susie to get on top and eliminate Johnny Bravo. And so then Rosemary comes in, and then we can tease again Susie. And I would have also played up Susie's evilness. And so Rosemary now has Susie cornered. Rosemary pulls out the apple and starts tempting Susie. Susie isn't sure, and starts maybe even going into convulsions until the next person hits Taya Valkyrie. Rosemary tries to get her to back off, and Taya Valkyrie says, fuck off, and they start going at it. Until eventually, at some point, they end up eliminating each other. Then comes Kylie Ray as the last entrant, but we forgot about Madison Rayne. So she goes and grabs her, throws her in, starts bopping her around. uses Susie to help eliminate her. And then it comes down to Susie and Kylie Ray. And because we've been playing up the Sue Young thing, at that point, I would start to play with the old Sue Young music or something like that. And then it's like, who hit the music? Was it maybe Rosemary? Was it maybe a setup? And eventually I would actually use it as a way to show Kylie Ray was manipulating Susie to try to get the championship possibly. But anyway, the Sue Young shit happens. Kylie Ray gets the roll up 1, 2, 3. What the hell? But and you don't have to go that route, but it opens up more directions for where they could go with the Sue Young Susie thing, and it tells more bits of story throughout the gauntlet. At least, and that was just off the top of my head what I wrote up based on what I thought maybe they could have done. Was it? I now not seeing the whole original thing. I don't know if it was any better or any worse, but that's at least where I may have gone with it.
Well, you get everybody's stuff over, and then the heel Madison Rain chicken shit stuff slides in with the Supreme babyface, and it goes home that way. I wasn't a big fan of Kylie Ray winning it. I don't feel like
and I agree with that. That was keeping the booking the same way.
Right,
I would have maybe turned it around with someone else, but
I would have gone. So to me, the story is the girls' division all in one, and Taya Valkyrie is the top heel because she's already sent out him. There's the douchebag thing, and then the secondary one, just to fuck with Rosemary, would show that Taya's like trying to get in Rosemary's head. So I would have gone all the way up to that point where you had it. And then because of the late entrance of Taya delaying from when she's supposed to go in, right, and messing with their heads, that's the heat is between Taya and Rosemary to be in there with Kylie. Kylie can get rid of one or the other, but Taya's got to go over in a cheap heel way because she's already had 2 barriers. So what is if a heel's getting their heat with whatever and they don't go over, then they're just kind of stupid. And Taya has the most money written on her out of everybody in that division. But I think, dude, Kiera Hogan, sexy, good worker with Tasha Steelz, great pairing there. Havoc and Nevaeh, absolutely been working together for years, and they're best friends in real life. Works excellent that way. Susie, I don't know if I'm still hooked on the shining weird girl after seeing Sue Young, which is one of the most disturbing characters there is, and they've kind of gone away from that. She's way sexier to look at than she was as a blood puking zombie with a period glove on or whatever the fuck that was. But there was a lot of good in this, but the match just wasn't explained enough to me beforehand, so I knew what was going to go on.
And we talked about, I think, on the Monday Locker Room, if you never want the feeling to be confusion afterwards. Intrigue is okay. Confusion is never okay.
But Kylie Ray up, good job working the camera at the end, looking strong. Kylie Ray definitely in the gym, getting stronger and stronger on Impact. When she was in the backstage thing, I was like, damn, she's jacked, bro. So working her ass off. Good for her. Heath Slater jumps the barricade, cuts a promo where he says he's at Impact to make an impact. I felt bad for him, dude. It was not a good promo. Then we have Willie Mack versus Chris Bay for the X Division Championship. Dude, there was... Not that they weren't no-selling in psychology, but there was 3 spots in here where just so dangerous. If I was the producer afterwards and they didn't clear them with me, I would have definitely brought them over and be like, you guys can't work like that anymore here because I'm not going to let you paralyze that guy on a get your shit in thing. There's one where Bay's hanging off the apron and Willie Mack hits him with a stunner, but his neck and back are already off the apron, so how much farther can you go? Let me get a stunner and fucking see and bend it the wrong way backwards. That was one. He gives him an overhead fucking gimmick into the buckles, and Bay lands on his neck, and then his body goes into the fucking buckles, and he's selling his neck bad. I'm like, he's fucked for real, bro. But that was just a fake heat spot, I guess. But like stuff that they're not taking care of each other on, man, that is there's no reason for it. Even when Sucio at OVW, he'd do the fucking front flip spot, the Tajiri spot off the ropes, back elbow, and Sucio is so athletic, he's fucking doing it with no hands. He's doing a headstand just on the top of his head to into the ropes, come back and fucking do that shit. I go, you're never doing that shit on this show again, dude. I'm not going to sit here and watch you break your fucking neck, A, for no money, to pay to do it, just to get noticed. I go, you save that shit for WrestleMania. Yeah, you can do it, man, but I'm never going to ask you to do that kind of shit and put that stress on your neck, dude. And here we are with this match, and I'm just like, dude, this guy could get paralyzed here in a second.
Absolutely correct. So quick, and not that anyone was asking for it, but a very quick anatomy lesson. All the nerve roots in your cervical spine come out through the back. And so any hyperextension of the neck going back like that, you're always potentially putting your cervical spine and your spinal cord at risk. Now, fortunately, a lot of these guys are athletic and muscular, and that honestly is part of the reason why we don't see as many people that have these super serious injuries. Now, granted, over time, this is where you see cervical stenosis start to develop because the neck keeps going back like this over the years, and then your bones literally start developing more osteophytes or more bone around those nerves, and then all of a sudden you can't wrestle because any quick movement can potentially sever your entire nerve root. So that being said, long story short, absolutely. From a pure healthcare medical standpoint too, it is ridiculous the risk that they are putting themselves in, and I'm honestly surprised that we don't see more serious injuries. I'm glad that we don't, but at the same time, it does scare me every time I see bumps like that.
Me too, man. We had a quick scene backstage with Rhino and Slater meeting up, and Rhino looks great, and then D'Amore has to kick Slater out because of pandemic and rules and shit. So sets that up for TV. Decent little scene. Here's my whole thing with Slater jumping the rail to cut a promo, impact, and like whatever. With this is the follow up to me, and you explained it too, that it should have been with Hernandez and Rhino, and that keeps going on, and that's the point where Slater comes in a show don't tell manner to help Rhino get over. Instead, we've had like 3 sad trombone scenes to try and get Slater over, and it just didn't work, man. Like, if you're going to make an impact, it's not on a microphone telling people you're going to make an impact. It's show, don't tell. Surprise. Holy shit, he's here. Show them broing up. Like none of that happened to get him over, and you only get one chance to make a first impression. And I can't believe that a guy like Rhino and Heath Slater, who've been around long enough, don't have they have the creative capability to go, is this really the best thing for it to get him over? Could we do it this way? And it'll actually, I think, add to all of our stories in a better way. Or are they just there not caring? I don't know, man. That shit confounds me.
Like, can you imagine? Literally, there's a billion ways you could book it, but I have the ADD brain where the ideas pop in. Imagine if they would have done the fight thing. They're fighting all through the pay-per-view, and then towards the end, backstage, it looks like Hernandez finally has Rhino's number. Rhino's crawling, and as Hernandez turns the corner with Rhino, you just see a chair smack him out of nowhere.
Whack.
And then you have Rhino look down at Hernandez and look over at the feed, and then have them slowly look up and reveal it's Heath. You just have that moment of them looking face to face. You take that beat for about 3 to 5 seconds of them looking at each other, and then embrace it in a hug in scene. You know what I mean? Then they're back, and then Heath Slater and Rhino can go on from there on the next impact.
I like it. Let me punch that up even more into a half comedy thing. Whack with the chair, down big man goes in Rhino. Like, even whack with the chair and like stands him up so Rhino can hit the spear and take him out or something, right?
Yeah.
And then Rhino's down on him. Dude looks up, sees it. That's the perfect moment. And then Heath goes, get it. Rhino digs in his pocket, pulls out the bankroll of cash that they were going back and forth with the money on, peels off a bunch to Slater, hands it to him. Slater goes, grabs it. I got kids. Puts it in his pocket, and they fucking leave, bro. Like that's it, right? Like, that's the scene to set up whatever's going that way. That's the show don't tell, the fuck you, to play out the game. Just because it says I got kids on a t-shirt and WWE might own it, you know, it'd be like, all he has to do is go, yeah, I got kids. And
well, you know what? Rhino has kids too, and I don't see anything wrong with we got kids.
Yeah,
and
hell, we got kids.
What parents can't buy that shirt?
Right.
We got kids.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Simple change.
That's the show
almost
don't
like
tell.
It better.
Yeah. Show don't tell. And that's a fuck you to WWE, because they're taking a property that they've got trademarked, changing one little from I to we, and we're off, bro, because that guy took the bumps to earn that catchphrase. His spinal stenosis is locked in because of that catchphrase. So let him get the money off of it, you know? So unfortunately, I like Heath. I met him when they were on the road with APOC. Very cool guy. You only get that one chance to make a first impression, and unfortunately, I feel bad that it wasn't handled like we just did it, man.
Yeah. It's sad.
Impact North versus Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan, who is claiming to be defending his 2CW title on December 20th, 2020. Yeah, we'll see. Never, because I'm not allowing that to happen. The challengers take the fight to Ethan Page right away, throw him in the corner, quick tags. Shamrock fires away with body blows, big right hook. Page hits the mat, screams that his nose is broken. That was a good sell. So he fucking rocked him. I go, dude, I wonder if his nose really is popped right there. But apparently it wasn't, but it was a good fucking sell off of the Shamrock beating. Take him to the floor and slam him hard a couple times with the barricade. What I wanted to do is, my nose is broken. Beast, what would you do if you're working heat on somebody right after you hear their nose is broken?
I would go after their nose.
Yeah, I would grab them by the back of their head, give them the fucking double knuckle pull up. Yeah, the Larry Moe Curly. Then I'm taking them over to the fucking turnbuckle. Boom, face first in there. Let them sell their fucking face, flopping all around on the fucking ground, right, dude?
Yeah.
After that, broken nose, like, well, now I got to work on your face. And that's going to make him want to tag out even more, holding his face. That means me cutting him off in a tag. Is that fucking much more? Get him on the ground, just post his head, grinding his fucking head back and forth into the ground, dude. Like, simple heat after you say he broke my nose.
Yeah. To take his head down the top rope and just peel it down and just
all that shit. All that shit. I'd get my thumb right in his fucking nose in the camera, be pulling it out and shit. Like, whatever. I'll fish hook your nose. I got no problem with that.
And of course, when the babyface gets the hot tag, what's he got to do? He's got to pop the heels' faces together. They got
to fucking boom. Oh, he's fucked. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely for retribution. You got it. This is the brilliance of Ted the Man Beast and I when we just fucking roll, man. Shamrock rushes Alexander with a flurry of punches, another right hook. Page attacks him from behind and mocks his opponent, calling him Karate Man. That popped me. Shamrock puts him in the ankle lock, and Callahan does the same to Alexander. So we have a good stage picture here. I thought what they could have done with the nose is they both roll through there and the dudes take the face bump and they're down. Dudes are selling their ankles, dudes are selling their faces, but they didn't go out of it like that. It had been a little spotty, but whatever. In the end, they get rid of Shamrock. North hits a double neutralizer and it's over. Still your tag team champs until Impact anyway, was the North. After the match, Ethan Page cuts a fucking awesome promo saying they've held it for 365 days plus, and then Motor City Machine Guns make their entrance and set that up. But this was another really good segment, I thought, too, man.
Yeah, and this is definitely one that I want to go back and watch from beginning to end because I only saw bits and pieces. And I'm a big fan of the North, and I'm also a big fan of Sami Callihan. And that's not saying anything bad about Ken Shamrock. Just them in particular, I know are really good psychology workers. You know what I mean? They know how to work the intricacies of a match. And Shamrock is a good hand in that if he's in there with the right people, then he can have a great performance. Absolutely.
I think he did here. I think he looked great. His punches looked shoot as fuck. That's when he said he broke my nose. I was like, dude, that punch looked like it could easily have broken his fucking nose. But then they didn't work all the heat that I was hoping they would have on it. So, but yeah, I enjoyed that seg too. That was probably my second favorite segment behind Moose and Tommy Dreamer. Backstage interview said she found the Good Brothers in the locker room, and Rich Swann comes out instead. He says he has an eye on the world title match tonight, so who's coming to Impact? Swann promises that the second he's cleared, the second he gets the green light, his eyes locked on becoming champion. Then we have Jordan Grace versus Deonna Purrazzo in a really solid match, technically back and forth. Jordan Grace getting it out, man. Booty, she had the tight bikini cut on her gear. Deonna looked sexy with like the nude stripes on there. You can always see the thong. Like there's the sex appeal and the wrestling together usually doesn't get pulled off that well in 2020. I thought in this match it did. It had the technical ability and the sexiness of it. I thought it worked, man. But in the end, Deonna Purrazzo is your new Impact Women's Wrestling Champion after Rings of Saturn that was pretty nice. And Jordan taps. She has to say she quits because she can't even tap out. She's double chicken wing hooked for shoot. So really good match back and forth, and did good business for the debuting Deonna Purrazzo. And I don't know with Jordan Grace and like how open she is on Instagram or whatever in a lot of things, whether it's wanting the women's respect to the revolution, but then turning around and taking fans only photos and shit like that. It's kind of hard to have it both ways. And after Tessa kind of fucked it up for him, maybe that heat is just something they want to go away from, and that's why they put it on Deonna. Not that Deonna's not ready and worthy. We know she was trained by Damian Adams, who's one of Rip Rogers' best as well. So her education is there. But this was a good women's match after we had a gimmick women's match before this. Good spot on the card for it.
Yeah, it's interesting, and Jordan has had the women's belt for a while now, hasn't she?
Yep.
She's also had a longer run, if I remember right.
I'd probably say maybe about 8 months, 7 months.
Yeah, it is interesting because normally you would expect, at least if the title's going to switch hands, usually even if it is coming onto someone that is say newer on the scene, usually they still have a little bit more build before the switch necessarily would happen. And so I was a little bit surprised by that as well. But it also goes back to, if I'm thinking as a writer creative, I think it's more important at this point to have Deonna have a championship, because she's being established right now, at least on this brand, on Impact. You can't just assume anyone watching knows her history. So they need to establish her. And Jordan Grace obviously has been well established as the champion. And so perhaps it's just an opportunity to build a new character or new gimmick, if you will,
sure.
in Deonna Purrazzo.
Compare this business done correctly to the AEW business of Lance Archer, Brody Lee, and Brian Cage. Guys they paid top dollar for to be big men, and they bury them in their first pay-per-view debut. This, a hot WWE property, just like all three of those guys I named or whatever, New Japan property or Impact property, brought in to be a main eventer, and they fucking don't put them over in AEW. They do it simply doing the right business on a debut for Deonna over Jordan, and it makes all the difference in the world in establishing them out of the gate. Like, yeah. I don't understand how with Arn over there, with Malenko over there, Billy Gunn, like that this shit can't get done the right way. And meanwhile, the girls nailed it on this one, I think, with business-wise.
And that's where I don't know the hierarchy of how it is, but unfortunately, unless you have the system in place for people like you just mentioned to step in and say their things, people are just going to take care of their own business, and that's you know what I mean. It's just wrestling in general. Like, I feel like Arn is probably going to take care of his segments and his guys, if you will, but he's also he knows where his bread is buttered, and he's not going to necessarily challenge Cody, all the time just because after a while, then you start to create friction. And so that also goes into the politics of picking your spots of when to speak up. And certainly everyone wants to be part of the gravy train that is AEW. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but at the same time, people also are going to be extra protective over not doing anything, even if it's the right business, but of not stepping on toes. You know what I mean? And
I've heard everybody over there is politicking for their own business and getting finish changed and not wanting to do.
Unfortunately, that doesn't work. It does not work ever.
Nope. And
so what happened with WCW?
Yeah. Yep. And now it's the main event, the match I had the most issue with. We know there's a mystery fourth guy coming, and I see what they tried to do here, but it just didn't work. And Mambies, you've talked about this, about you can only shine the spotlight on one thing. So we think the mystery fourth man is coming out. Everyone's expecting EY, and then who is it? It's Rich Swann carrying crutches, and everybody goes, oh, it's Rich Swann, everybody. Like, not that Rich Swann isn't a cool guy and a great wrestler, but we were expecting EY there. We just saw Rich Swann in a promo backstage on crutches. So it's not like a big, oh my God, he can wrestle? And then so he's the fourth guy. So now we're like, well, I guess EY isn't coming out. Then EY comes out and Impact's going to impact and makes it a 5-way man match. He books himself into the match right away. And you're like, what the fuck? Then he gets vicious heat on Rich Swann's surgically repaired leg with a chair, stomping on it, beating the fuck out of it. Swann's down on the cell. I like all of it. They get rid of EY, and up fucking comes Swann back to offense for another 90 seconds before he's done. Dude, that shit drives me nuts. And I've worked a lot of shows with Swann and I've been in a match with him, but I just cannot sell for that kind of shit where you take all this heat to get a guy over and heel heat and anger, and then you just spit on it by standing up and not doing it after you did an awesome sell. How does any wrestler be able to justify that? I don't know, dude. I just chalk it up to CZW indie early days of not knowing the right way to do things? I don't know, man. It really had me confounded. Then we go back to like people staying small, and we get these little singles matches in between, and Eddie Edwards goes over, and I'm like, okay, Eddie's over. And then out come the Good Brothers, to like be a part of the show because we've been waiting for them. So they went surprise. Here's what I thought in their mind. Ooh, surprise Rich Swann. Ratchet up. Ooh, surprise EY. Ooh, surprise Good Brothers. Do you think it's there? No. Ooh, surprise EC3 promo. Like on paper, that's what they thought it did. It did the opposite of effect of that. It confused your crowd, having your watchers expecting EY and ready to pop for it. And then you march out Swann in a badly done Russo swerve. Then you fuck over the rules of the matches that you've been building to for the last 3 weeks for the surprise by bringing EY out. Then whatever their little wrestling shit there where he buries it took me out of the match fully. Eddie goes over for no real apparent reason to be the go-to guy. Then out come Good Brothers, who should have been hosting the show the whole time and making it like a fun rib type fucking thing. Cool guy thing, I think. And then EC3 promo. By that time, you're already checked out because you got burned on the EY thing. So you try and do 4 surprises back to back. You can't. You do 1 surprise, spotlight on it. Next segment, spotlight on it. Okay, so this match, and then leading into Eddie Edwards' Impact opening promo, Eddie wants to be the here we have the cookie cutter fighting champion. A lot of this was a stab at Tessa, but the cookie cutter fighting champion. And I'm going to be this. Dude, Eddie's been a psychopath. Eddie's not in the best shape he's been in. He's like turning into what Tommy Dreamer was. You know what I mean? Like, it and what he was wearing, baseball cap backwards, Easy-E shirt on, and some, camo skateboard jacket. Like, it doesn't scream like I'm the fighting champion of Impact, that promo. So everything from the end of this to the setup of that, I just did not like Beast really at all, dude.
Yeah. Do you think they could have played it different with him still going into it wanting to be the fighting champion, but in a psychotic way, like he gets the championship and then it changes him in that he will protect this at any cost and he will fight anyone. I'm trying to think if there's a way they maybe could have worked in the character into the still the gimmick of a fighting champ, because obviously they want for television I guess for the next few weeks to have a world championship match every week, which sure, okay, I can see the booking mechanism, or if you will, but I just can't. But I agree with you. It felt like he was switching between characters just by winning a championship. So It almost makes me wonder if there's a way they could have done it, but embrace more of that psychotic.
The money is EY over, bro. The money is Eric Young over. Yeah. And pushing him out of, and Eddie's in the background. Eddie's already over as this new hardcore psycho thing. Like, we don't want him as fighting champion. Again, they bring Deanna in. EY has got the credentials to do it. Boom, you put the title on him. Good Brothers never should have been in the scene, whatever. Neither should have Swann. EY goes over. Then afterwards, that's when you bring out EC3 to set up EC3 versus EY in the studs have returned home. You know what I mean? Type feud. And there's just no reason to put it on Eddie. The money's not there. Not when you just spent all this other shit on other guys. You're only gonna end up taking it off of him in the next 5 weeks, I think. Like, not that he can't carry it, but it just doesn't draw the right business, in my opinion.
Or I know you said EY. Do you also think maybe they? Because I'm always bigger on the chase and the baby going after the heel. Or do you think it maybe also would have worked to have EC3 have been the guy to have won the championship, and then EY? Well, either that or Eric Young also could have been the one instead of. It seems like Moose is spinning off with EC3. I almost feel like Eric Young would be the one to spin off and defeat Moose.
I agree with that too. I think they got it backwards. EC3 could have been a surprise on the Russo swerve. Swan's out of, and here's how to rebook it. Swan's out of it. Good Brothers out of it. EC3 fills the EY spot, goes over for the title. Place would have, if there was a crowd, would have gone nuts just for the fact that he comes out and he's in the match. Classic that way. And then EY could have come out and started shit with him that way. Or EC3 versus Eddie Edwards is a damn good feud. Yeah. EY versus Moose in the TNA thing. He's like, you're not going to disrespect this title. I bled for it. And I'm going to put it back where it belongs on the shelf. When I beat you, I'm not the TNA champ. Nobody is. There's only Impact from now on. You know, like, and that's the story that way, dude, of the regulator to put Moose away. But those 5 surprises booked back to back to back was, if there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, bro, that was 999 right there. Like,
and it goes back and I hate that it had to happen for the point to be illustrated, but it does go back to the point of that is exactly why you can only spotlight one thing at a time, because if you try to spotlight multiple pieces of business all at once, nothing gets over, unfortunately. And that's the sad part of it, because there is lots of great, all those pieces of business that they try to do it all at once were all great pieces of business, but none of the businesses that they were you trying to get over worked because they tried to do it all at the same time. Agreed. And it's like, man, if they just would have spread them out at different points, it would have been a heck of a lot better. And everyone, all of these great talents would have had a better chance to shine on their own.
I totally agree with that, man. And they kind of confused even on Impact a little bit too, but that was Slammiversary, you guys. Let's see, what was there? Was there anything else on page 8? Just talks about the each elimination, Trey Miguel and all those guys. Yeah, no, we covered all the business going out of that way. But Impact 721, intro video recap, Madison Rayne and Josh Matthews. I was watching the Twitch feed, and people are putting it over, man. Like, Josh Matthews and Madison Rayne could be the best team in commentary. Like, I like JR and Shivani and that stuff too. But really, they are kicking ass. Like, we've been through Josh Matthews with the metrosexual, having to play the douchebag or the whatever kick around guy to Cyrus, you know what I mean? But I didn't really like him with Elijah that much, just because Elijah's dusty thing kind of wears on me a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's fun in small doses, but a whole show you're like, oh, but yeah, exactly. Come over and play video games, Daddy. Josh Matthew and Madison Rayne back on commentary. We start out with Chris Bay versus Willie Mack in a rematch. But Bay wins with the killer springboard cutter for the 1, 2, 3 after they do a bunch of quick no-sell high-flying shit. But it was a pretty fast match right here for Chris Bay to retain, and now the finesse era, the finesse division.
Yeah, I mean, this was a fine opening match. It was interestingly quick, but my guess it was really just to solidify Chris Bay as the X Division champion by giving him another win over Willie Mack and allowing him to spin off from here. Is my thoughts. I would feel like at this point that Chris Bay and Willie Mack is done, because he's been clean
twice.
So now the question is, who does Chris Bay pair off with here?
And is Willie Mack?
I can only hope it's Swinger Suicide again. Swinger Side.
Or is Willie Mack one of these guys who are on the chopping block, bro, because of the new dudes who are coming in? He didn't have a full-time contract, but they may be spinning him out because him and Swan are boys. So maybe they're going away with him and Swan. I hope he doesn't get cut, but I'm just talking budget. And when they're doing $150,000 bailout for pay, and who knows when last time guys got paid. I don't know what's going on. I haven't heard any rumblings of shit from the old days, but you never know. Promoter's going to be promoting. Good Brothers arrive, cut the promo, put over their pay-per-view that's coming up August 1st for, NC-17, where they're going to talk some shit. So this is good. I think Anderson and Gallows, obviously, they look phenomenal. They look like stars. They've got the underground established Bullet Club cred. I think they should really be going for it here, dude, with the bang bang. We're the industry insiders even more. You know what I mean? Like they are the new Hall and Nash. So like, let's really get WCW 95 with it, 96 with it. You know what I mean? Like, let's really take a couple shots every time we can. I did pop that. The thing that popped me the most is when they're throwing the beers in Austin style, and Anderson goes, "I'll catch the big man's." He goes, "He was a center, not a tight end." And right on key, Gallows goes, "Non-skill positions matter too, bro." like boom, because I was a center for 6 years too, man, hiking the ball. And I played tight end too, but that popped the shit out of me. That's the kind of in the moment. When you script things, you will never get that opportunity. That line made me laugh harder than anything else. It was organic. It was real. They know they're doing a Stone Cold ripoff. They know the night before they tried to do it and be cool, and Big Dog dropped his, and fucking, so now they're going to get the little Good Brother rib in. Like, that's real wrestling shit. Oh, don't throw it to him, dude. I'll get his. Don't worry. And then I'll hand it off to him so we can keep driving those little needles in. You see the Horsemen do it every time, whether it's Muffle Sparks or whatever. That's what makes them fucking cool. And if they start scripting them and saying coward and, do my bidding and all whatever the fuck Vince writes over there, no. They should be the model that you should go, look what these guys are doing. I want that type of organic in every scene I possibly can have it in. Yeah. Why is Heath Slater got to say, get over Impact? You're at Impact. Say that, like, just let him go, bro. Just let him fucking go. So I liked this opener with the Good Brothers, man.
Yeah, it was a good way to play. It almost makes me wonder if, and I think we've talked about it before, like, I feel like wrestling should be written in a similar manner to Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Exactly.
Where basically you have your bullet points, and that's it. The rest of it is the talent just kind of takes it where they feel it should go, and then you book accordingly based on that. Again, just with bullet points of, okay, this is what happened organically, so now realistically we can go here, so let's do this next week. You know what I mean?
100%.
And just spell it out in bullet points.
100%. Ace Austin comes down with Madman Fulton. They face off. I liked Ace Austin didn't fucking try and look like indie versus WWE. He stepped up, slaps a beer out of Anderson's head, and I don't like beer. I was like, oh shit. Even Anderson popped for that. I think that was unscripted. I think that was in the moment too. And then they start fighting, and it's good. You see it right there. Obviously, it looks like Shawn and Diesel versus Hall and Nash, kind of. Yeah. So I like this, and I think it was a good set off that way, dude. And I'm excited to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, and even more importantly, I felt this elevated Ace and Fulton.
Definitely did. Heath arrives at the building but isn't allowed in. He tells the doorman his name should be on the list. We talked about this, but like, dude. Like that, I just think that's kind of too waka wrestling. We can do some other choices that are better than that. At least let the guy know who he is. Like the "who are you" lowers the stock price of the guy you're trying to bring in. Let him know that, sorry, Mr. Slater, or sorry, Mr. Miller, even if you wanted to call him by his shoot name and get that over, that's the opportunity to go with Heath Miller going forward. Sorry, Mr. Miller, because of the pandemic.
Or you're going to start saying, oh, I know who you are. You're Heath Slater. No, you can't say that.
Yeah, can't, bro.
Say my last name. The camera's right there.
Right.
I'm not going to be I can't get a lawsuit. Yeah. I got kids. You know.
And then, I'm sorry, I can't let you in because of the COVID pandemic. Say all the shit that WWE can't. This fucking guy could have gotten just as a security guard over with like 4 or 5, bam, 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 bam. Where are they going to go after the fucking guy who's an extra security guard? Fucking A, that's your opportunity, right? And to write those high-level things into the scene. Instead, he didn't know who he was. So if the security guard don't know,
then why should the person at home watch you?
You got it, dude. They just don't know how to do punch-ups over there. And Jimmy Jacobs says he worked with everybody in the WWE writing staff room was a genius, even though their ideas weren't getting to TV. Well, if Jimmy's got the pen on things like this, where's the punch-ups on these scenes? Premise is right. Execution is way off to get max value on people, dude.
Yeah.
Backstage, Rhino and Hernandez are still arguing over what happened in their arm wrestling competition next week. We covered this, how we would have rebooked it. Next, we head to the Champ's dressing room where Chris Bay is receiving the back massage from two beautiful women. They were beautiful. He offers them champagne and claims they're probably used to drinking some dollar store swill. Hakeem Zayn comes in and steals the scene, takes a drink instead, saying maybe the Champ needs a little backup or someone in his corner, promising he's much better than Swinger. So this is interesting. I'd like to see Chris Bay, Hakeem Zayn and Swinger get into it. They're both very good at character, and Hakeem can hold up his end in the ring, just like I've compared him to.
Is that Raju?
Rohit Raju.
Okay.
I compared him to Jamin 100 times, man. They're very, very similar workers to me, and both excellent. I hold them both in high regard. So that'll be interesting.
This lends credence to possibly, him trying to basically ride Chris Bay's coattails, but it could eventually lead to them having a little feud down the line, which I'm all about. I think they could put some great stuff together.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. Chat room's really enjoying it today. Appreciate you guys with the bits, Fudge 420. Also appreciating all of your knowledge medically, man, Beast, as well, and what needs to. So that I knew it, guys. I knew when he was going to join here, you were going to get, you're really getting 3 or 4 masters to doctorate level education every time you hear this man speak. So and he's willing to do funny fucking character knockoffs like the Motor City Machine Guns. Nick Beckham, Ted the Trailer McNailer, whatever you want to call him, is a talented and brilliant dude who loves to entertain people and will do whatever it takes to make sure the show goes on and everyone attempts to do their best. Sometimes we don't get that done, but that's always our intention, man. And I know you guys are appreciating it here at Hamin Media Group and at twitch.tv/conspiracy.
I always appreciate it, you guys.
Havoc in Nevada.
I'll send you your PayPal money for putting me over.
I'm happy to do it anytime, brother. Havoc and Nevaeh, two ladies I tons and tons of respect for, and Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan, two girls I'm becoming big fans of. I think they're in the modern look of what is that ghetto fabulous, Cardi B. Let's relate to what's going on right now. It's got a little Orange is the New Black in it. It's twerk, it's sexy, it's world star hip hop, it's Instagram. They've got something there, whether it's baby or heel. They could work either. Havoc and Nevaeh, obviously Havoc is kind of the end of days, thing, and Nevaeh directly related to Ohio versus everyone by marriage, and been working Shimmer and Shine for over a decade and a half, and works hard on her body after having X amount of kids to come back. And like we've said before, not a lot of people get shots in this business, 30 to 40-year-olds, you know what I mean? After going and leaving and doing that, she's worked hard to get back here, and she's got the in-ring acumen to really get somebody over or be a star herself. She could even, if split off from Havoc, take that Mickie James Monday Night MILF gimmick and fucking get that over. I think she really could if she wanted to, because it's not getting done there. And Havoc, I'm just a big mark for, because we worked well together, and she did great business for me in 2CW with the Dick Justice storyline. And she smells great all the time. She always smells like the scents from Victoria's Secret gimmicks are. So it's always in a locker room full of piss stinking knee pads. When Havoc's around, it always at least smells decent for a few minutes anyway. So
it's always appreciative to not have the smell of Axe body spray.
Dude, totally.
At least for a couple seconds.
Yeah, totally. And just don't get caught looking at her gimmicks, or you're going to get driven into the floor. One of those two. It's a trade-off. Rhino versus Hernandez. In arm wrestling, Havoc and Nevaeh over, which I liked.
Right.
I think both teams got over here. Neither team looked bad by any means, and the girls did a great job getting the new team established, I think, in Havoc and Nevaeh. New to TV, not new to, women's wrestling universe that way. And I think with the, what do they call those nylons, with the fishnet type things, even that tied their gear together. I think the same people make Havoc and Nevaeh's gear. Maybe Nevaeh makes it, I'm not sure. But it's got that same style, even though it's different. They're two different wrestlers, because Nevaeh is not really, end of days type thing. And Havoc's toned it back a little bit from the Apocalypse. She's been established with that, but dude, I'm down with what they're doing with the women's tag division more than I am in any other Fed at this time. I think they've got a strong one.
Yeah, and all of the women, or at least most of them. I mean, there's a couple that they still haven't established characters, but they aren't just wrestlers who are kind of half-assed doing a gimmick. They all are characters and gimmicks that are also wrestlers. And to me, when you're able to understand the person behind the character or the gimmick, you have more of a incentive to watch what they do, and you're more interested in what's going to take place in the storyline going forward. So yeah, I agree. Kudos to Impact for the booking of the women's roster, because really, despite our not liking of how they booked the gauntlet at the pay-per-view, in general, they still have a very strong women's roster that they've built.
Mm-hmm. And I like making those two girls strong. And there's down the road, she's never done it that I've seen. The only time I've ever seen Havoc not show ass, as we say in wrestling, or look weak, or look silly, is when I kidnapped her. And even then it was kind of because we'd set it up. Dick Justice was really getting to the peak of it. And she came out and did the thing. And, she wasn't even really on the show to wrestle. She came out as Jessica Havoc, so we humanized her a little bit more and whatnot. And she's like, you guys, I have to tell you something. And the crowd gets quiet, like thinks she goes, I love Dick. And like everyone's like, she loves Dick. She's like, no guys, I love Dick Justice. And like then everyone, she loves Dick, da da da. Dick comes out, we make him his babies. I come out, interrupt, we have the match. Snabitz with a flag, knock Dick out. Or I was gonna go get more heat on him after the match and fuck him over. She's over him, no, whatever. I go over, grab Havoc. Now, that gives me instant power, because Havoc is an established fucking world beater of a woman. I'm a terrorist who is very misogynistic with X amount of wives and, whatever goes on in Saudi stays in Saudi. But Dick is down there, and I'm going to brain him unless she fucking agrees to what I do, because we established she loves Dick. And then instead I grab her by the hair, drag her out caveman style. And then in the back, we're taking pictures. I got her all dressed up, full face cover gimmick, like that was a choice. And the crowd was with it. From then we had 3 or 4 more shows to pay off business. She's evil again. She's in my corner, and then can turn on me for Dick to go back over. And the crowd loves it in a 5 or 6 show set, man. So that, to me, she may have done it other places. I don't know, every Havoc match. That was one of the few times that she did business to show vulnerability to get over somebody else's business. Because usually she's in my spot kicking the fuck out of everybody to get heat until it's time to beat the monster. You know what I mean? So I always, that piece of business will always stick out in my career. Is like, that was fun and cool to mix a couple other people in that way, man.
Absolutely. It's awesome. It sounds very ECW-esque. Like I can feel the crowd on the beat of that. And I'm sure to her, probably, when you play one archetype as a character and you get the opportunity to be a little different, I'm sure probably for her, it was probably refreshing to be in more of the empathetic role.
Sure.
And not as aggressive feel. Just like I'm sure if you had the opportunity, you'd have to completely change everything. But if you had the opportunity to come out as the fiery baby face making the save, I'm sure for you, it would be weird, but it probably would be very refreshing.
I want to do it. Here's the thing. Well, this is the other part of the Havoc thing, because I have the pink head gimmicks, right? So I throw it down on the ground and I put it on, woman, put it on. And I'm like, I'll fucking brain him. I'll take his head off right here. And she's like trepidatious of it. And then she puts it, the symbolism of her putting it on and covering her face is now bowing to me that way. And then, it was very easy. And it was in Binghamton, which is the armpit of New York State, but one of the hottest meth head crowds you could ever perform in front of. So it was a very awesome moment. It was on the Sammy Callahan RVD show too. So a Monday night against Raw, it was just a really, really great moment in my career. I'll always look back on. So always happy to work with Jess anytime, man. The other thing that you were saying there, to come out as a babyface, and this hasn't happened yet because I don't want to be like, because there's no heel bigger than me, but there needs to be somewhere that I work a heel that goes on a tear that is unbelievable heat, like does something that's far beyond, and I don't want to say far beyond what I've done, but something that really resonates with the crowd where they fucking hate them, and he runs through every baby face ever. And you have to go get the devil you know to fight the devil you don't know, where the heel that you fucking hate so much you have to align with to go destroy the even bigger fucking monster that needs to be dealt with. You know what I mean? And then after I do that, I can turn around and sting you right away because I'm the Scorpion once again. What do you expect from me, right? So that I haven't had that opportunity. I've thought about that and who could be that monster heel who has a ton of heat. I don't know, man. But I would like to play that out before my career is over with. I think that'd be a very cool and interesting storyline. If 2CW does relaunch, never, then maybe I could get that in there somewhere down the road. But I don't know who that heel is, you know?
Yeah. And that's just one way. There's other ways you could end up turning babyface. It could be something where you have a strong feud with someone and spin off into something where, you know, almost like the Batman Joker thing. You all hate each other so much, and then he winds up in a situation where he needs a tag partner and no one will tag with him. And you're like, fuck it. You know, you obviously want the tag team championships too. And then that's where you could do the oddball pair. Like, say,
I haven't done the odd couple.
For some reason, you and Dick Justice, you know, and he takes you off on how he lives his day, so that way you can try to incorporate yours. You know what I mean? And it's more you're the resistant heel that's not putting it over until at the end you're eating donuts and doing all this stuff and like y'all donut or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or even take a bite and just be grossed out to it. Like you can stick to character and show the opposites, but when we get in there to win, it's about that we've got to win for this reason. Yeah, I haven't done the comedy odd couple. I've done a couple odd couples like where they'll put us together, me and Tomer Shalom, who's a Jewish guy. You know what I mean? And we have to do
perfect. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so Tomer's fucking great, man.
Team up. There you go. That's beautiful. I love
it. So I do want to do the go away, and that not go away from someplace, but let somebody else get a ton of heat, and I have to be the one that they make the choice to fucking sign a deal with the devil to go fucking beat the monster. So. Rhino versus Hernandez we covered, and then there's a vignette arriving the hype of Brian Myers, aka Kurt Hawkins, where he's got a kind of a cool mask on. You know, it's kind of like Mortal Kombat of his own designs and stuff. I'm always a mark for that. New York Mets, Syracuse blue and orange, so he had me there, and I think he could do some good little business there. While Ryder gets things set up in AEW, gets into a storyline, then needs help. Who is it going to be? You think he's at Impact, but his dates have expired. There's no long-term contract, and you can come in as a real surprise and do something there to be, oh my God. And then somebody else gets pushed to AEW Dark for the next 5 months. An interview tries to get word with no knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo. The champ says everyone's insane if they think she's just going to reveal her future plans to them. She's the new champ. She painted a masterpiece at Slammiversary. Now that Jordan Grace is officially on the injured list, there's no one to compete against. Kylie Ray approaches and informs her she does indeed have an opponent. She's standing right in front of her. Purrazzo offers a handshake. Kylie accepts and gets put in a Fujiwara armbar in the hallway. The other knockouts swarm and get in between the two. Not bad, but the swarm always seems like you're just waiting in the wings for a phony scene. You know what I mean? If you're going to do it, do an interview in the locker room with the girls in the background. They don't need to be totally, sexed out and pulling focused, but at least you know it's there, and we're in a scene where there's other girls interacting, and make it a real scene. You know what I mean? And it goes down that way, and they have to pull them off. Not like, and cue, run in there, get them off. Like, I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff. And the other thing was Deonna Purrazzo. She was dressed like the girl from the Breakfast Club, who was the weird one. She had a trench coat on and sunglasses. She looked like she might have had a hangover or something, bro. I was like, maybe not the best presentation for Deonna right here based on what we've seen so far.
Right. And that's where I think I've said this before. I think Deanna is a hell of a talent. I think she's got a lot of great talents. I don't think she quite fully knows who she is as a gimmick, as a character, as a wrestler yet. You know what I mean? And that's the unfortunate part. I do think she's still kind of figuring that out, and hopefully she can really solidify who is Deonna Purrazzo over the next few weeks, because that's going to really make or break this championship run. I think she has all the tools to pull it together. It's just time will tell on if we ideally, and it goes down to, you know, anyone at home who's just casually flipping through the channel should be able to watch what you're doing on the screen, and in 3 to 4 sentences and in a short paragraph should be able to describe who you are. And so Deonna Purrazzo's kind of, you know, we kind of have an idea. She's sophisticated. She's high class. She's the, what's the word? She has some kind of gimmick name.
She's the virtuosa.
Virtuosa, but who is the virtuosa? And that's what I really feel like we need to figure out.
I loved your idea of the cello player or the violinist or a quartet bringing her out.
Everything super fancy for her. You know, maybe instead of the steel steps, they have to drape down, you know, a rolling carpet down the steps.
I love it. I think all that's great stuff, dude.
Like that.
Then we have Eric Young comes out the stage, but Eddie won't let him talk. Champ says Rich Swann's his friend and currently in the hospital. He may never wrestle again, and he may have trouble just learning how to walk properly again after that beatdown at Slammiversary. Well, he didn't have much trouble after he got up for 90 seconds after the beatdown happened. EY tells Eddie that thinks it's funny that the champ believes he has any say or any sway or pull or any chance that he has influence over what's about to happen to him. He said it could easily have been Eddie Edwards in the hospital and not Rich Swann. It doesn't matter to him because that's what he does to people who get in his way. In the way of his hard work, his journey back to the top of wrestling. They brawl and then they hold Eddie down, and Young retreats up the ramp, screaming at the champion he's just sealed his own fate. Well, after officials swarm the ring to get in between them. The other sort of champ is here. Moose is interviewed and asked if he would ever consider a weekly open challenge for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Let me ask you, BC, what did you think of that EY Eddie interaction?
It didn't really resonate, and I feel like part of that is over the last few weeks, what has been done to really make us as viewers really get behind Eddie Edwards, other than who he, I guess, has been in the past. So, but you can't assume everyone knows everything Eddie Edwards has done. But over the last few weeks building up to this pay-per-view, other than him happening to be, you know, getting some wins and being part of the title match, I still don't really feel like I know also who is Eddie Edwards. Why do I care about him other than the fact that he's been around a long time? And same thing with Eric Young. I mean, I guess at least he you know, did something that we are assuming the fans at home watching, you know, are angry at what he did to Rich Swann. But at the same time, that was another thing where, you know, you're assuming what took place on the pay-per-view is going to carry over to TV as far as establishing that heat. So because I didn't really care about Eddie Edwards as much based on what they've done with him, therefore I still did not feel a great sense of heat when Eric Young took him out, because I didn't really care all that much in the first place. And that doesn't come down to the performances, it's down to the writing.
I think I've got the shoot on this on how to pull it off. But before I do, Buckshot Kid in the chat says Eddie looks like he's staring off into space. I agree, bro. He's got like that CTE glazed over look almost all the time now, bro. Like Shawn Michaels does.
It does concern me.
It concerns me too, big time. But the way to do it, I think, is shit. What was I just thinking about? Sorry. I lost my train of thought here for a minute. Go ahead, Beast Vant, for a minute.
And that's where I'll go back to the writing standpoint.
I'm spaced out. Maybe I got the CT. Go ahead.
No, but had they given us just little vignettes over the last few weeks over Eddie Edwards, maybe going through his journey, talking about the injuries that he's been through, people telling him he should quit, you know, but he's not going to quit.
Well,
you know, and
I got
that's
it.
Part of the story.
I got it. So here's what it is. He hasn't left or ever been to WWE. He's been ROH. He's been New Japan. He's been Impact. And now these WWE guys are coming in. If he wants to be Tommy Dreamer, who was Mr. ECW, then he needs to be Mr. Impact. And you need to say what's true. EY was Impact to the core, so was EC3. But they left for greener pastures. How'd that work out for you? Say the things that fuck them, right. You know what I mean? And now you're going to... Yeah, it's the truth. And now you're going to come back here and act like you're just going to waltz in here. I've been here holding it down. The Wolves were holding it down. I'm here with the candlestick. You want to face me? I'm the one who you got to pay the toll to now, EY. You don't get to go here and then come back like you're still got a spot at the table. Hell no, I sit at the head of the table now. That's the promo I wanted from him. Not I'm a fighting champion and you don't know what you've gotten yourself into. More wrestling bullshit from
Tropes. It's just using old tropes.
Old tropes, all old shit, bro. And it's not hitting at all. So
it's like when everything is a disaster behind you and then the guy walks in and goes, well, that went well. You know, it's like, ugh, that's one that I hate.
Yeah. Too
tropes.
bad. It's not good. Moose does the gimmick, fights Fala, goes over on Fala, which I'm glad Fala's got a spot there. A lot of money on Fala Ba. I mean, not just the ba stuff. There's just money on him, and you just got to find the right story for him. Same with TJP. There's money there too. But I think Fala on his own is fine as well. And then we get the EC3 that we showed earlier. Gets a heat on Moose and walks off like a solid heel does there. And that's the business. Like, really, it isn't about Moose beating Fala. It's about that last 30 seconds. And that's where we come from, OVW, Al Snow. It's all about that shit. And what do we, at the end of the night, we're in the go home. Al would say, what is the business of that match going forward? What should we see next week? Well, we better see Moose either go after EC3 or we need to get the setup for that match for next week, but they'll probably give you that match next week and shotgun it. There's still much more drama to be done in that way if you're to really play it out, but that's the true business of the match. Moose looks strong in a get over versus a super heavyweight in Fala, so he fucking looks like a strong champion defending a title that we know is debunked. EC3 gets his heat just to start some shit from back in the day. Good stuff. Good biz there. After Moose's title defense, commentary's like, what the hell? He doesn't even work here. Yeah, sure he doesn't.
And then they put it as a highlight on the Impact Wrestling YouTube page, but he doesn't work here.
And now the segment that I probably like the most and I'm most looking forward to, Wrestler's House. Johnny Bravo and Rosemary arrive at a house. It looks like he got on Airbnb and they're finally excited to get a bit of alone time. Taya Valkyrie shows up as the world's most obnoxious third wheel and wants to know where they've been. Before that, there's some really good stuff though, where she is enticing him and whatnot, and there's sexual innuendo, and he calls himself Olive Oil. She's like, Olive Oil? And he's like, virgin olive oil. Extra virgin. And like, dude, and she like turns away from the camera, is like, yes, like gets to rob his innocence. Like, again, wonderful comedic scene work that WWE cannot even come close to getting, of these types of real jokes, real comedic scene work that is wrestle crap that is beautifully done. Instead, we get ninjas and whatever other Vikings with bowling balls, from them. Like, this is the good stuff where you play two completely absurd characters in a love angle that they're playing it true to what the id of their character is. It's the fact that they're in the circumstance is the comedy, not the fact that it's a zombie chick and a douchebag manager. Like, we have to tell everybody that, you know what I mean? Like, it's like him walking in with that stuffed dog and going, look, everybody, I got a stuffed dog. You don't reference it. You just carry it around with you. We all see it and we all know it. The fact that it's in scene after scene after scene is what makes it goddamn funny and repetitious and makes us care about a stuffed dog that we should have no reason to care about whatsoever. It's because they played the game out week after week that we're invested. And that's when scenes like this actually hold weight, water, and have some comedic genius to them.
Yeah.
So Taya shows up. Rosemary says three's a crowd, unless it's a party. Well, lucky ass Johnny Bravo. And begins to teleport half the Impact roster to the house. The Deaners, Kylie Ray, Susie, Johnny, Swinger, Crazy Steve, etc. And next week we'll see something called Wrestler's House. I'm excited for it, dude. I really am. I love wrestle crap, dude. Especially if it's done at a high level that pays off decades of investment for your audience across multiple companies. When you can make those references, that's the reason of doing satisfying psychology. You know what I mean? You there? You froze?
No, I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Impact
Yeah,
tag.
absolutely.
Go ahead. You got anything you wanted to add about that scene?
Well,
Beast?
I just absolutely, because Wrestle Crap, we laugh at it, but if it's played at a high level and done well, it can be done well. It can be good, but at the same time, unfortunately the norm, it seems, is Wrestle Crap does turn into crap. But at the same time, this does have a world of potential, and this is one of those things that makes me so wish I was writing right now, because already my wheels turning on all the different relationships that we can interact with on that show. There's just so much potential, and I hope they play up to the height of its potential.
What's your favorite Wrestle Crap ever? I know mine.
Oh man, just I don't know. I mean, off the top of my head, I mean, I can't. I'd have to sit down and think about it. What's yours?
It's one a lot of people won't know, but you'll absolutely know it. I mean, we talk. There's Mark Henry with the hand and the Mae Young and things like that to pay off. They used to get it right, but for me, it's Big Sweaty Betty is my favorite thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because we wrote it. In
well,
that case,
I don't.
Yeah, I'll say that. I'll go.
Big Sweaty. Well, I mean, you could say Lumpy Magoo is Wrestle Crap too, and that turned into a top draw.
Or I could say the damn barbecue video.
Barbecue is good too, but Big
YouTube
Sweaty
Oklahoma's
Betty.
Barbecue, you can see the bane of my existence.
Big Sweaty Betty, I stole from the Naked Gun when they were in the lab, and the one guy's like 7 foot tall, and they're doing like the crime lab stuff, and he's like, "You got something there on your lip," and the guy, you see his hand go up, and like a whole banana falls down. Like that always popped the shit on me. So that's what we did with Cornbread, who is, as Kentucky as they come, and a OVW original who's been the cameraman there for over a decade. And so then we put him in Daisy, and he's all white, big, fat, blubbery, big man tits. And
he's morbidly obese.
Yeah. And so we put him in Daisy Dukes, and then we'd sit him, we'd have him stand on a low chair. So his head was out of the shot. He'd have Confederate bikini top on over his man titties. And then we'd have your tag team partner, Nine Fingers Dewey, come in, and he was the love interest. And Dewey'd talk to her or whatever, and she'd get him pumped up for his match while he's rubbing his face on Cornbread's big stomach. But we called her Big Sweaty Betty. Did the bit with, "Hey, you got something there in your whiskers, babe?" And he flicks it, and a whole Slim Jim comes down. Or she'd bring him a cheeseburger, and he'd fucking be eating that before the match while rubbing his face on Cornbread's big gut. That shit, good artists create, great artists steal and make it their own.
And say what you will about Nine Fingers Dewey's lack of wrestling ability, that motherfucker, he committed to the bit.
Commit to the bit, bro.
He would kiss his belly, rub on it, lay his head on him. Oh my god,
dude, I love it, dude. It was my favorite stuff on the show, not just because we wrote it, because of the commitment to the bit, because it was stolen and reinvented, and because it worked instantly. And not a lot of people saw it. It's on my on YouTube at Ben Hamin. Just go on Ben Hamin, search Big Sweaty Betty, and Nine Fingers Dewey. Just some great stuff, man. Fun shit. I love that stuff. And I'm sure there'll be moments like this with that. Then we have tag team championship match, the North versus Motor City Machine Guns. Like I said, I was surprised at this. The North looks to put away the match at the end, hitting stereo suplexes. They hit Saban with a brutal wheelbarrow cutter. It was brutal. Onto the wheelbarrow German suplex. 1, 2, fuck your finish, kick out. They set up for the finisher, but Shelley rolls up Alex. I didn't like a kick out there. That should have been a save. But they set up for the finisher. Shelley rolls up Alexander. Saban crashes into Page and tackles him to the ground. 1, 2, 3, which I did like that cutoff there. But yeah, your new champs, the returning Motor City Machine Guns, good nostalgia feeling there, and really a shocking victory. I don't know if I would have booked it that way, but I don't think it was a bad choice by any means.
No, I don't think so. And again, it goes back to I feel like the North at this point, they've already held the record. They've been established, and they've utilized it as a tool to help get them over. So at this point, it really doesn't get them any more heat or any more over. No. I feel like, to continue on as champions. First, the Motor City Machine Guns coming in first, and you got to think too that they're very interested also. I mean, I know some might even make the argument like this should have been, they should have won the titles on pay-per-view, but same time, you got to think compared to other big promotions right now, their ratings aren't anywhere close to the other big players, and so you're going to want to have some big moments on television to make people want to tune into your show. Sure. to see that. So in that instance, thinking that way, I do think if that's was their part of their rationale, I think absolutely it was a good way to go with it, because it gives people an incentive to want to see the show and tune into the television show.
I think so too. I think the Deaners have a chance to steal it. Dude, you're going to have the Deaners. You've created all of these worlds that are believable, and that's what Impact does above every other wrestling company. And now you have the Deaners' crazy world. You have Swingers' crazy world. You have Sue Young's crazy world. Johnny Bravo and Rosemary in a very strange thing. The cock blocker, Taya Valkyrie. This is improv beauty right here of what would have been on the Monday nights at Improv, a little bit called the Armando Diaz experience, which is the best improvisers who are established, and it's going to be a great show, and they're all the top players on the teams. And I think this is that to me, because their worlds are believable. Now we just have to find the sweet spots in the Venn diagrams, multiple Venn diagrams where 3-4 worlds intersect, and we can start paying off multiple business, setting up new relationships, new jokes. And it's the segment I'm really looking forward to the most next week. I hope they really hit a whole fucking home run with it, man.
I hope so too, especially considering how good it can be. If it's not, it's going to be that much more disappointing. Yeah. So
I think they're going to get it though. Everybody who I see in there has been really nailing it, and I can't see him missing. And I hope, not to shit on Jimmy Jacobs earlier, if he's got a hand in this and this is the brilliance, then so be it. Because I think these type of things where you take a character out of its wrestling world in the realm and show them in a real world scenario, and you play the bit out the right way, how they would be, that's where the magic really is, dude. It's not trying to set things up. It's creating realities. That's where the comedy comes out.
Absolutely.
So, and that is the big time Slammiversary and Impact Wrestling report, you guys. Woof. Got through it all. It was a big weekend with Extreme Rules, and then fucking trying to get through Raw, which was absolutely brutal. Wanted to take my own eye out in an eye for an eye match after that one, Beast. But we'll be kicking it here all week long, man. I want to say thank you, obviously, for filling in full time for MSG, that lazy son of a bitch. And Monday was a good time with Rick Vickery, too, in the locker room, you guys. And I'm sure the new Wednesday locker room is hitting on all cylinders with Billy Ray Valentine and Bello being Bello. I'm not sure if Strangler Steve's back on this week, but I know he's listening. Been in contact with him. And Big Ray doing well after his surgery out of the hospital, man, and recovering. Hopefully he can take more time and not overdo it. He wanted to get right out of bed, and he found out the hard way that sit down, shut the fuck up, and eat your pudding. You got to rest, buddy. That's the way it goes. Beast, what's going down with you, man?
Well, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm getting ready to upload this now, and as we continue to grow our secondary page with the Hamin Media Group,
yeah,
be sure we got a lot of subscribers on I think the Ben Hamin channel on YouTube, but be sure to tune in to the Hamin Media Group, where we'll be uploading some of those pet projects. And today it will be the digital debates, at least the pilot episode. But as we go forward, I'm looking forward to getting into obviously more serious topics as well, having different guests that want to argue. And I'd even put this invitation out to any of the listeners that feel like they maybe were very strong back in high school or college, part of the debate team, or just you yourself are very well educated on a certain opinion on something and want to have a debate, then feel free to reach out. You can email me at bookthedoctor@gmail.com. But really looking forward. I think we all want a reason to give our opinions on different things. And so I'm excited to have this platform where we can take two sides of different topics, whether they be serious or mundane, and be able to discuss them at length and then have people vote on who they feel was the better debater. And so I'm excited for that. And so be on the lookout this afternoon on the Hamin Media Group YouTube page. And I'll also I'll go in and I'll chop up the audio a little bit, and I'll upload it to the Podbean as well.
Awesome highlights, and we'll get you access to the Hamin Media Group Twitter so we can start promoting that right away. Like you said, the best way you can help us is to share, subscribe, become our advocates, and help us. And I know everybody here at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman loving today's show. I see you, Strangers Alley Fudge 420 and K-Bob really enjoying the commentary breakdown of the watch along. Even if they didn't watch it, they say they felt like they were right there with it. So I know we're doing our job well, like we're always going to, man.
K-Bob's having the four roses, that talking my language right there.
And actually, somebody hit me up, said, "Are you serious about doing that whiskey show? You got a listener right here." I said, "I am, but I don't have the library of liquor that Man Beast has, so maybe that is a great way to break out into a show that for Hamin Media Group, for Man Beast Productions, where things go. I mean, look at that, dude. That's only one.
That's one cabinet.
One cabinet of the three that he's got. So definitely, I think we got the fan base there to do a little taste test show. So, and who knows, that's when they start sending you free bottles of liquor, and that's what we're all about here. But yeah, man, the best thing you can do for us this week is add that Hamin Media Group on your iTunes, Spotify, or .podbean.com, wherever you're getting it. That's going to make sure you don't miss any of the shows, because we've taken them off of Hacker Hamin stream, some of the pet projects, and we're just making sure that everything can get seen in the right way. So looking for free media, know where to subscribe. Had a good time at russosbrand.com. If you got the extra money to spend on Patreon or there for a subscription, doing great stuff with Stevie on the Raw and SmackDown review with Vince. And that leads right into the Patreon with Master Shoot Theater. A lot of people didn't realize that it's 20 or 30 minutes long, not the 2 minutes that you might have got back in the day. So all the new subscribers are hitting me up like, why didn't anybody tell me? Well, I'm telling you now, infidels, it's improv mastery over there. So get over and get some. Yeah, pal. You never know. I'm going to take my pants off next. But y'all, I appreciate everybody at ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin and /Crossfire for the new shirt that they just put out. Still got to cut a promo to cut them down, cut their legs out from underneath it. If you bought the 2CW pre-sale, you're an idiot, because I'm not going to give you any refunds back, morons, because I'm canceling all shows. No one will perform without my permission. WWE lowest ratings ever until Impact rises to the top, infidels, here on your Impact Attack. YOLO!